This year has been one for the record books. But you know what? A lot of our plants have been through this sort of disturbance before. Today, Kirk Austin from The Natural Gardener picks resilient options to establish now. Hey Kirk, great to see you.
Thank you, John Hart.
Congratulations. I believe it's somebody's birthday, the 30th anniversary of The Natural Gardener?
It is our 30th year, and in celebration of that, what we've decided to do this year is to plant 30 trees on our property.
Really?
We've had so much damage during the last two big freeze events that we've had in the last 3 years. And we had started to build some shade structures, but we figured that the best shade structure is a tree. And so we're trying to replace a lot of those that we've lost over the years.
We have a lot of viewers that ask, what in the world can I grow here? Especially, newcomers to the area. And it's already a challenging environment to grow stuff, but now we're getting these freezes and the extreme heat. So let's walk through a couple of these and sort of the conditions, because y'all are the experts. What I love about The Natural Gardener is that you really understand cultivating a beautiful landscape. So let's go through a few of these. Why don't we start with the singular grass we've got up here?
So that is a maiden grass called, this particular one is called Adagio, and it's known for the little plumes that it has that start about midsummer, but then they last all through the fall. We do recommend cutting it back every winter, but it has a really good seasonal interest, and this particular one has a little white variegation right up the spine of the long leaf there.
What types of soil conditions would you say these work in?
They are very forgiving.
Forgiving, all right.
We do always recommend a little bit of compost, some soil conditioner, things like that are always beneficial, to give plants a little bit of a head start. But almost all of the native grasses and certainly the miscanthus will tolerate our lousy alkaline soil here in Central Texas.
Okay, and light, are we going to need, will it tolerate some shade, a little shade, a lot of shade?
As much sun as possible.
As much sun as possible. Okay, we got a sun lover here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about watering? That's always a chief concern for people.
The first year, you're going to want to take care of it a little bit. You don't have to water it every day, but a nice watering once a week or so wouldn't be a bad thing. What we always recommend is deeper watering with less frequency.
Sure. Okay. And then this is an adapted plant, correct?
It is not native,
right.
But there are some natives out there that we do recommend, like Gulf Coast Muley, Big Muley, Lindheimer Muley. Those are all good.
Well, let's move to some of the shrubs we've got here. So we've got, this looks like yellow bells, but am I fooled here?
Well, it is a type of yellow bells that's in the Tacoma stands is the broad category for all of them. This particular one is a variant called Lydia that has a little bit more bright bloom to it, but it's a slightly more compact plant.
Okay.
And but it's kind of known for being early to start and late to finish on the flowering.
And then again, the soil's pretty carefree.
Pretty forgiving. This will grow in the shade, but it won't bloom as well.
Okay.
So it's another sun lover.
And then what about butterflies or bees? A lot of pollinators?
This is a good one for bumblebees.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, let's move to the salvia here. This looks like a really beautiful plant that you've brought.
Most of our salvias were real winners. This particular one is a Mexican bush sage, Salvia leucantha. But there were some other salvias that are certainly as good as that. The Salvia farinaceas, the mealy blue sages. The Mexican bush sage really needs to be in full sun, but the mealy blue sages will tolerate some shade. And then there's the Salvia guaraniticas, the majestic sages will tolerate a lot of shade. Again, with most perennials, most blooming perennials, you're going to want to cut them back in the winter, but they bounce back and they'll be performing for you. For this Mexican bush sage, it blooms a little bit in the spring, but then it goes crazy in the fall, and you'll start seeing them all around town, from September through Thanksgiving.
And I know the salvias definitely host a lot of pollinators on those things.
They do. We have them thick in our butterfly garden.
Okay.
The butterflies like them. Even the hummingbirds. It's a really good plant.
Okay. What about this hibiscus here?
So this is in the Rose of Sharon, Althea, Hibiscus syriacus family. This one is relatively new to the industry. It's called purple pillar. And as evidenced by the name, it's more columnar. It grows about 4 feet wide by about 8 to 10 feet tall.
Okay.
We do not cut it back. We give it a little bit of a shape in the wintertime,
Right.
but we had 0 damage with it in either of the freezes, and then it's been a real workhorse in the summertime. Very tolerant of most soils. The hummingbirds really like it, and it starts blooming about Mother's Day and never stops until almost Christmas.
You've got kidneywood, which is one of my favorites and is wonderful on rocky, dry soils where you might be having a challenge getting stuff to grow. I know you need full sun, but I mean, these flowers are some of the most fragrant to me.
It has a wonderful honey scent to the flower, and the bees are totally enamored by
Crazy.
it. This will be covered in bees,
Yeah.
and you can hear the bees
Yes.
from a few feet away. It is very tolerant of rocky soil. Once you plant it, you really don't have to do much to it. If we get into this period, we've got 100 days of 100-degree weather and no
Right.
rain. Give it a little help,
Yeah.
but it's still going to survive.
Yeah,
It's just not going to thrive.
Definitely a survivor. And then really quickly, these last two, I know some people really love their cacti and their agaves. You've got 2 species here, the Regina and the ovatifolia. What about these?
So what we like about both of these is that a lot of people lost many of their agaves in the various freezes that we had. These were 2 real survivors. The smaller, the Queen Victoria, has a wonderful variegation to it. It's great for smaller gardens. It really never gets much bigger than about a beach ball. And being an agave, it doesn't require a whole lot of water.
Yeah.
Our real winner, though, is this whale's tongue agave, the Agave ovatifolia. So many people had some problems with the Agave americanas.
Yes.
We had about a 50-50. Some of them made it, some of them didn't. All of the whale's tongue agaves that we had on property had almost no damage at all. There was some of them had a little bit of tissue damage, and some of the leaves got a little bit wavy, but the very next spring, all of the new growth was perfect, and we're very, very happy with it.
Kirk, I want to thank you so much for coming by. I love The Natural Gardener. Happy birthday. I'm excited about the trees, and I just want to thank you again for coming on and speaking with our guests. Now let's check in with Daphne Richards.